Everybody and their mama has started this conversation about this coloring book like this is something more than what it was meant to be.
Oh, she got this dress from this Etsy right here. Do you notice something? ABDL clothes. What does adult baby sissy little stand for?
Her Tumblr was exposed, showing that she had a few weird secrets about her. Trigger warning, by the way, because I'm going to include some of the screenshots from her old Tumblr and it might make some people uncomfortable. This user on Reddit had said that they were on the Melanie Martinez Wikipedia, said that they were reading her page, and it said that Elita was caught a few years ago liking stuff on Tumblr related to that, and that.
I know the fans who follow her blindly are going to defend her and try to interpret this book as art. But as a former Child Protective Services investigator who has worked countless cases where perpetrators had possession of CSAM, this book is CSAM.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Lauren. I do ram content on my channel whenever I can. So I originally filmed another video about this yesterday. That was my original video. I decided to redo the whole video because there was some stuff that I really felt like it needed to be in this video. So here we go again. So this is a redo of my original video. So this is all starting from a TikTok video I made because Melanie Martinez is under controversy once again on TikTok, this time for her earlier music, specifically during her crybaby era. And I made a TikTok about it. I made a TikTok about the crybaby era, specifically some weird things besides the coloring book, which we're gonna get into in this whole video. So I think many of y'all have seen the discourse about the Melanie Martinez coloring book that was released like a couple of years back, and it's resurfaced with a lot of people saying the coloring book depicts stuff like spam. So I don't know, I could be the only one, but like I was a Melanie fan at one point. I've stepped away after the resurgence of the Timothy allegations, but I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks this, but the crybaby era specifically, like some parts in it were kind of weird to see, especially now as an adult. So like, for example, people are talking about the coloring book saying like, oh, like, why are you looking at it that way or whatever? Okay, that's your argument, right? But how can you explain the Pacifier music video where Melanie basically reveals her chest to a boy? Like crybaby, her OC, that's supposed to be a child. I don't understand that logic by fans that, oh, why are you looking at it that way? But why is she doing that in the music video? And some other creator actually on here had showed the dress that she wore in that music video and where the dress was from. And I could be wrong, and someone please correct me, but the dress that was from a site that is promoting play. Like, I don't know, there's just some things that I don't agree with. I think that is one of them. The argument that Melanie fans are pushing out there about, you know, crybaby is Melanie's like OC, a child that experiences adult things. I know that the coloring book was based on her songs, but the Pacify, her music video, if that's the case, that crybaby is supposed to represent a baby, why did she flash another character? Like, you know what I mean? That's so weird. I don't know. Personally, I used to be a fan of Melanie's when I was like 14, 15. I stepped away after the resurgence of the Timothy allegations. And I guess now looking at some stuff like this as an adult, it's kind of like, you know, you kind of look at it from like, hey, what was that? You know what I mean? But I made a video on that yesterday, and let's just say about 200,000 people saw the video, and about over 2,000 comments are people arguing in there. So I think I started something, which I'm really hoping we can just like not argue with each other, at least over here. So you probably clicked on this video having seen the whole discourse about the crybaby coloring book and just the crybaby era altogether from Melanie Martinez. And I really want to make a video about this. So you all know, I've mentioned it before, I at one point was a Melanie Martinez fan. I got involved with her music when I was 14, 15. It was during the K-12 era. That's when I got involved. I had heard some of her songs prior to that, but I didn't get fully involved until K-12. Ever since Timothy Heller came onto TikTok, bringing up the allegations once again, I have since stepped away from Melanie. I have unfollowed her on everything. I am no longer a fan of hers, and I support Timothy in the case that she had to go through such a traumatic event with Melanie. So I personally have stepped away, but I do know about some of this stuff because like I mentioned, I was at one point a fan of hers, and I really did want to bring up some stuff that I am now seeing, I guess, as an adult compared to when 6 years ago when I was like 14. So that's what we're going to talk about on this video. I do want to stress though, there is going to be a heavy content warning in this video. So please, for the love of God, proceed with caution for this video, because this video will go into the background and context of the crybaby era, as well as the controversy that's going on TikTok, like I mentioned, and what the issue is. I do have to bring up some stuff to let you all know, like, where people are coming from in a way, which will be very uncomfortable. There will be several uncomfortable topics such as CSAM or PDF files, which just a bunch of things that are very uncomfortable, but I do need to bring up for this video, which I'm going to also try not to go too in depth with because of YouTube. I personally believe that anybody who's a minor who is a fan of my channel, I don't think they should watch this video, but of course I cannot stop you. I'm just putting out a warning. I won't go into full detail like I mentioned because this is YouTube, but if you are uncomfortable with any of the topics I mentioned or any topics involving that nature, please click off the video. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So before we get into the whole controversy that's on TikTok, I do think it is important to look back at the context of Crybaby, where all of this is stemming from, what Melanie has said in the past about this album, and overall that stuff before we get into the controversies, so this can give us a bit of background information. So Crybaby, the album, was released in 2015. Crybaby, the character, is Melanie's original character, or OC that we'll call it. Crybaby is supposed to be a child that goes through adult things. She has said that before in interviews. She has said it like in videos, so we've established that, right? According to Wikipedia, it reads, the album is about a character named Crybaby, a fantasy version of Martinez when she was a very young child, specifically before she started education, and a representation of her vulnerable and messed up side. Martinez described Crybaby as a child who experiences adult things. She states that many of the things that has happened to Crybaby are embellished versions of things that have happened to her in her own life, except the part where Crybaby gets kidnapped and kills her kidnapper. She also did an interview with Billboard back in like, I think 2016, 2015, in which she explained that most of her songs do not come from trauma that she herself has experienced, rather either people she knows or just overall things.
What are some of the subjects you think that a lot of pop artists and pop inside of pop songs don't really discuss?
I mean, there's a lot of things. People struggling with depression or anxiety or, how they look.
And those are all things that you've struggled with yourself.
No, actually, the record is a mix of kind of like there's, Dollhouse, for example. I had a great family life, but I had friends who didn't, have the same situation at home. And it's really important for people, even if it's not like a huge group of people in the world who have these issues, like they still need music to connect to.
In an interview with Vogue titled A Look Inside Melanie Martinez's Beautifully Twisted World, she was asked what her average fan base looks like, in which she responded 13 to 18 years old. Now, this was in 2016, so obviously that may have changed as people could be older or younger than that average. But we can assume now that those 13-year-olds in 2015, 2016 grew up with her music and now either make up the adult portion of her fans who are still a part of her fan base, or they are now a part of the adult group who may have seen Melanie Martinez in a different light now. She also stated in the interview that there will be 8-year-olds who come to the show and I feel like they're super into it because of the aesthetic, the colors, or the story and the visuals. Now personally, the 8-year-olds who are at her shows and are into her music is also kind of weird given what she talks about in her songs and how she uses her aesthetic to talk about it, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's just a little weird, but we've established that Melanie's fandom is possibly mostly made up of minors, some of who could have trauma and may have used Melanie as a way to cope. Now, I also have to bring up Elita Harkov. If you have no idea who that is, Elita is Melanie's friend. She played Crybaby's best friend in the K-12 movie, and she has also played other characters during the Crybaby era.
By now you all know of the Elita controversy that has been floating around again as a result of the Melanie Martinez allegations made by Timothy Heller. I keep getting comments and DMs regarding it, so I thought I'll just make a video instead of replying to every single comment. We all know that Elita Harkov, or Emma Harvey, is Crybaby's best friend in the K-12 movie, but also played a pivotal role in the Crybaby storyline altogether. But Elita herself is an independent artist, and I've actually listened to quite a few of her music. However, a few years ago, her Tumblr was exposed, showing that she had a few weird secrets about her. Trigger warning, by the way, because I'm going to include some of the screenshots from her old Tumblr, and it might make some people uncomfortable. This user on Reddit had said that they were on the Melanie Martinez Wikipedia, said that they were reading her page, and it said that Elita was caught a few years ago liking stuff on Tumblr related to that, and that. She deleted her Tumblr as a result of it. Quite a few people had replied to it saying that she was probably drunk, or maybe, I don't know. This was all following Elita allegedly liking, reposting, commenting, and even posting herself to these type of topics. I'm having to blur out and cover quite a bit because I do not want this video to get taken down, but this is some of the things that she was reposting. This Twitter user also did some digging and found some old Tumblr notes, or whatever they call it on Tumblr, I can't even remember. Y'all could read that. You guys can also pause to read. This person obviously did their homework. So as I'm literally doing the research to all of this, because literally I'm educating myself on this, I'm finding out that Elita was a webcam model between the years of 2014 to 2017. What made people really uncomfortable is that during this modeling, she would partake in certain kinks that involved role-playing as a child. And she has allegedly already outed that she's into some messed up things. But a lot of people have been accusing her for dressing up like a child or using childlike toys to attract a certain demographic while she was doing this webcam business. To the extent where she'd apparently even say that it wasn't that bad that she was engaging in this. Like I said, in terms of Elita, I didn't really listen to her that much anyway. But yeah, that's the Elita controversy.
Now, allegedly, Elita has a controversial past involving participating in the double DLG community back in the early to mid 2010s. So for context, Elita is currently 29 and will be 30 this year, meaning in 2015 she was 19 to 20 years old, and that was around the age that she was during the Crybaby era when she was playing a background character. So there is a possibility she got involved with the community when she was a minor. A screenshot was posted on Reddit that allegedly came from Elita's old Tumblr account, which was called Young Elita. Apparently the Tumblr account has been deleted, and please do not look it up if you're underage. So somebody had asked Elita if she was into, and the question read, wait, so you're into, you must have no morals. And Elita allegedly responded, basically. She was also asked, what's your opinion about PDFs? And Elita allegedly responded, I don't know, I'm a sicko. A lot of her content that was posted on Tumblr was a lot of revealing content and pretty inappropriate content. So like I said, please don't search it up if you're underage. And people online have claimed that she would roleplay being underage and other disturbing stuff. So the only reason I'm bringing up Elita is due to Melanie's friendship with her and how her past was around the time of the Crybaby era, and how Elita was into several communities that are pretty much harming children. So I feel like that is a big role to play and a big context to bring when it comes to this entire controversy. So what's the issue? Why is this suddenly a controversy? Why is this fuming on TikTok? So the main thing that is the controversy, like we brought up at the beginning, is the Crybaby coloring book. So particularly it was the soap page, the page that was used for the song Soap. So the coloring book was released during Melanie's Crybaby era, so 2015, 2016, if you will. So in which it shows a child character, aka Crybaby, in situations that have to do with Melanie's songs. So for example, one picture would represent one song. So Carousel, the Carousel picture, Mrs. Potato Head, the Mrs. Potato Head picture. Now, the issue with this, I guess, that a lot of people are coming from is it depicts Crybaby, who Melanie has obviously mentioned is a child who goes through adult things. People are seeing it as an issue depicting Crybaby in such a light, especially as a child. So the most controversial page in the coloring book that is currently being talked about on TikTok is the picture that was drawn for the song Soap. So the picture shows a child character with soap in her mouth, and she is in a bathtub. It is a child in a bathtub. So a lot of people, it's very mixed on this. So you have the Melanie fans who, not all of them, but some of them, are defending it, saying like, oh, why are you seeing it that way? while other people are like, hey, this is the material they use to lure kids with, like CSAM, which you can look up the acronym because I don't think YouTube's going to allow me to say it. So I see the issue with it. I'm going to be very honest. I see the issue with it because it is depicting a child character in a tub with soap in her mouth, which ultimately can be used as a phallic object to represent something else. Like, PDFs are going to look at it that way also. And I don't know, the argument that some Melanie fans are using, saying, oh, why are you looking at it that way? I feel like that's the same argument that those mommy bloggers or those mommy vloggers on TikTok who post their kids constantly and are like borderline exploiting them. That's the same argument they use when they have their kids like in a bathing suit or when they have them topless or stuff like that. Like, I don't know. The argument is a weird argument. That's all I have to say. Because I could swear Jacqueline, Ren Eleanor's mom, who, if you all don't know who Ren Eleanor is, oh my goodness. Long story short, Ren Eleanor was a like 4-year-old girl who was on TikTok. Her mom would constantly post her. She had like 1 million followers on TikTok. And people were worried about this child's safety online. And the mom allegedly knew what she was doing because she would post Ren in like certain ways that would appeal to creeps online. So like, for example, instead of cutting up her food like a hot dog or something, she would let the little girl just like put the whole thing in her mouth. Like, it was shit like that. And like, she did not care. She was like, oh, like, there's no problem with it. Nobody has told me anything, like, this and that, whatever. Eventually the account, like, I think the account was like privated or something because they haven't, like, I haven't heard anything about them. But yeah, no, I'm only bringing it up because Jacqueline, Ren's mom, used the same argument that the Melanie fans are using for this picture. And this is not the only picture that a lot of people have a problem with. A lot of people have a problem with the entire coloring book itself. Personally, I do think the soap drawing could have been done differently. I think it all could have been executed differently, in my opinion. But yeah, no, I just think it could have been a different depiction. It did not have to be a child in a bathtub. It did not have to be that. And yeah, I know the other one that's controversial is the cake one, where it's Crybaby as a cake and like somebody's gonna like eat her, which it's also controversial in a way. Yeah, so now I don't know if it's just me for this, but does the coloring book controversy remind you of the It Ends With Us coloring book? Like, basically, when Colleen Hoover wanted to do a coloring book for the book It Ends With Us, which talks about DV, and people were outraged because why are you going to color something like that? Can't the same thing apply to the coloring book that Melanie Martinez has? You know what I mean? Like, because of the topics that Crybaby goes through, why would someone color like such topics? You know what I mean? I'm just thinking about that, right? So yeah, I don't know. I see it like it's weird. I think it's pretty weird, and I think she could have executed a lot of this differently. And a lot of people are asking, oh, why are you just bringing up the coloring book? Like, why is it suddenly being brought up now? And the thing is, the argument I have for that is it's the same thing like the Timothy allegations. They were brought up, and most of the fans silenced people who disagreed with anything that Melanie did. So it's actually very sad, to be honest. Like, you know, people probably did bring this up back then when it was first released, and the Melanie fans were like silencing them and stuff. It's like I said, they did that to Timothy, and that's probably why this didn't get as much traction as it's getting now. And I don't know. I personally don't think this has anything to do with the Timothy allegations. Now, this could be some people's reasoning, but when I'm looking at this, I'm not thinking of the Timothy allegations. That's something separate. When I'm looking at this now as an adult, as someone who used to be a fan of hers, I'm looking at it from an adult lens, being like, hey, that was kind of weird. Now, my TikTok video that's currently doing well on TikTok, that I also posted on YouTube Shorts, it was talking about the Pacify Her music video and how there was a very weird scene in there depicting Melanie, who's supposed to be depicting a child, bringing down her top and showing her chest. So in the music video, Melanie played 2 characters, Crybaby and another girl character, who both of them are seemingly fighting over a boy. At the end of the video, the unnamed girl character in order to get the boy's attention, brings down her shirt and reveals her chest and basically flashes the boy character, which the entire music video takes place in like a crib, like a playpen, a crib, and like we've established, they're supposed to be depicting children. And so I think that's very weird. Like, I don't know. We also have to look at it this way. Depicting children is a very sensitive topic. Like, you have to tread the line very, very carefully, and I think she crossed it, to be honest. And it's not just this. There are other things I think she's crossed with it as well. And I don't know. Personally, I think that was a weird choice to make. I do understand what the purpose of it was, because people constantly were telling me in my comments that I didn't understand what it was and that media literacy is dead and stuff, which I understand that it was supposed to like represent fighting over a boy and how a boy will always choose like a girl's physical self. But in the context that they are children, that seems very, very weird. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So then another TikToker brought up that same music video, but she brought up the outfit that Melanie was wearing, and she basically found out that somebody on Tumblr, or somebody back then when the video was trending, found where Melanie got the costumes from. So allegedly, Melanie got the costumes from a shop that promotes age play, which is weird to say the least, because if her main thing is about, you know, advocating for victims and like speaking about this stuff, why would you do something that's the complete opposite?
I'm gonna make a longer video right now, but I think you guys need to see this. Because now that I've learned this piece of information that I'm about to show you, I think Melanie deliberately knew what she was doing in regards to her themes surrounding her child character and her sexualizing this character multiple times. First of all, shout out to Chewed Gum Girl for sharing this piece of information with me. They will be tagged in the description. So this is a dress that she wore for her Pacify Her music video. If you saw one of my last TikToks, I did speak about that music video. Here is another shot of the dress. So I was able to find information on this dress from the Crybaby Amino. This was posted back in 2017. There's multiple pictures of it, and it describes where she got it from. Oh, she got this dress from this Etsy right here. Do you notice something? ABDL clothes. Adult Baby Sissy Little is what ABDL stands for. Here's more of the clothes that they sell for adults. Anyway, if you already don't know, you might be thinking, what does Adult Baby Sissy Little stand for? Yeah. Originally, I was hoping that she was mostly just being ignorant and self-absorbed when it came to her past work. But there's no way that she didn't know what she was buying. I feel like the description of the store and also what they were selling was very obvious. Like, you had to have been looking for that to wear. And this Adult Baby Sissy Little thing is plastered quite literally all over it. And also, she wore this one. Shop's link for this one is broken because I assume they don't sell it anymore, but here was the link to it. I don't know about this one.
I personally find that weird, and she didn't only use it for the Pacify Her music video. She also used it in one of her outfits she would wear for a concert or a performance. So, I don't know. It feels very like a juxtaposition, like a hypocrisy, if you will. That, like, here you're saying, like, oh, I'm bringing awareness to these topics that involve children, that children can possibly go through these topics, but then you're wearing something that is made for people who get off to acting like kids during time like that. You know what I mean? That's so messed up in my opinion. And let me tell you, in the video I made, in the TikTok video I made, bringing that up, because I did talk about that creator's video, I got this comment that was so weird in my TikTok video, in which somebody was saying, oh, why are we shaming consenting adults who want to partake in play? So I respond back to the person saying, like, hey, I am gonna shame somebody who gets off to that because that's messed up and weird on so many levels. And the person responds back to me using it as an insult, saying, "Oh, you must be vanilla then." I would like for you not to touch me with a 10-foot pole, because that is such a weird response to somebody saying that they don't like people who get off to that. That is such a very weird response. And I don't care if it's consenting adults being into that. That is still so fucking weird. Like, it's messed up on so many levels for people to get off to acting like children. Now, like I've mentioned before, there is a difference between age regression and age, because I've talked about it in my Johnny Gilbert video with his girlfriend and how she was kind of acting like a child. And there is a big difference. But if you're into stuff like that, which I don't think anybody should be, because that's so weird, do not bring that to the internet. Like, don't bring it to a public space where you have children, you have minors who are in there. Don't bring that to a public space where children are involved. You keep that to yourself. We don't need to know about that.
I don't need to know about that. You keep that to yourself.
I just think this whole thing is like really shedding light on stuff that we probably did not see when we were younger. When we were kids, when we were minors, this is probably some stuff we did not see growing up. And I think, honestly, it's good we're having this conversation, because it's so crazy how overlooked it is. And a lot of people are saying the term that, oh, maybe Melanie ruined her entire audience, which I think that may be a stretch, but I do think that maybe the way she went about some stuff may have gotten some people involved in things that they shouldn't have been involved in at a young age. Now, I didn't want to bring up the Timothy Heller allegations, as I did a whole separate video on that. I'll link it down below if you guys want to watch it. And I didn't want to bring it up because that's not the point of this. This is about Melanie. This is not about Timothy. And I feel like a lot of people have been using that as the excuse as to why people are suddenly shedding light on that, which I think they're two separate things. Like, you cannot compare the two. And I don't think saying, oh, people are just hating on Melanie and they're finding any excuse to hate on her because of the Timothy thing. No, I don't think that. I don't think that. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because we've established that Melanie had a young fan base, ranged 13 to 18 in her words in an interview back in 2016, and how she also had fans as young as possibly 8 show up to her shows. So when the allegations did happen in 2017 with Timothy, Melanie did thank her fans for finding out the correct info, and she never stopped them from sending hate and doxing Timothy. I find it crazy that Melanie, being the adult in the situation back in 2017, never once told her fans to stop sending Timothy hate. And because those fans, we have to admit, the Melanie fans were ruthless to Timothy, and they still are. They still go to her TikToks, they still make videos about her, calling her a liar, calling her all this stuff, which to this day, I wonder, like, if she has already gone through so much shit from the Melanie fans back in 2017, why would she subject herself to that again? That's the only thing I have to argue for that. But I find it crazy that she never once stopped it. She allowed for it to go on for so long, because it still happens to this day. She has never once told them to stop. And it's crazy because, like I mentioned, we've established her fandom is mainly made up of minors, of teenagers. I don't mean to say that kids should know, like, who don't know better, because kids should know better also. But kids will blindly follow someone that they like. They will blindly follow someone they support. And Melanie is no exception. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think this video needed to be said. I am hoping that we have a good conversation about this in the comments. I do want to stress, this was my opinion about everything. I did show other people's opinions on this throughout the entire video. So please, y'all, if y'all are going to discuss this in the comments, please make it respectful, because it did get very, very hectic on TikTok. Yeah, no, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and comment down below what else you guys want me to talk about on my channel. Like I said, I think this video needed to be had. I actually think bringing this up and seeing other people talk about it is a kind of a wake-up call to, like, you know, the media we consume, and the media we consumed as kids, you know what I mean? Especially, like, you know, if you had, like, unrestricted media consumption growing up. So yeah, no, I really want to talk about this. I think I needed to shed some light on this. Before any Melanie fans come in attacking me in the comments, because I did get that on TikTok. Yes, I was at one point a fan of hers. Yes, I know about the crybaby lore and everything. Do I think that excuses what was done? No, I don't think that's an excuse for it. I don't think needing context for that excuses it. You know what I mean? So, anyways, I'm going to end off the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like I said, okay. I think I'm going to end the video off. So, yeah, I think I'm going to end off the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time on my channel. Bye, guys.